She was a young woman looking to strike out on her own.
She was just ready to live life.
They were the couple that opened up their door and their hearts to her.
She was trusting. She was innocent. She was protected.
They all seemed like the best of friends. Until a startling discovery sparked a desperate search.
They had no body, they had nothing. They just knew, here's blood on the parking lot floor.
As the manhunt unfolded, investigators wondered, is this an innocent friendship or a twisted threesome built on infidelity, lies, and cold-blooded murder?
This rage is building up.
She was experimenting with her sexuality.
She would meet people online and talk to them and just go meet them.
The person that did this to this victim was angry. They wanted this person out of their life permanently.
Monday, November 17th, 2008, 8:30 a.m. The property manager at a Herndon, Virginia apartment complex is walking through the building's parking garage when a shocking sight stops him dead in his tracks.
He noticed a puddle of blood and blood stain all over the garage floor, which kind of alerted him to something is not right, and he calls the police.
Within minutes, officers arrive at the scene.
The blood stains, the puddle of blood, something went wrong. That was foul play there.
But aside from the blood evidence, police don't have much else to go on.
They had no body, they had nothing. They just knew, here's blood on the parking lot floor.
170 to dispatch. Start supervisor, crime lab, and on-call investigator, please.
Officers call for backup and request the assistance of their CSI team.
They start going through every tooth and nail pertaining to how this evidence got here, who it could belong to, and what happened to the person whose blood was found. Is that person still alive?
As police fan out across the garage, it isn't long before they notice something else.
We have a blood stain on the garage floor that leads to this dumpster.
The trash that day was supposed to have been picked up. However, the individuals had not gotten there yet, so they were able to secure the trash from the dumpster.
Detectives may have caught a break, but finding evidence in an overflowing dumpster is no easy task.
The trash compactor has to be combed through piece by piece. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. You have no clue as to what you're looking for.
Sorting through the pile of garbage, investigators make a chilling discovery.
Inside that dumpster, a lot of personal objects was found, such as a mobile phone, key fob, and articles of clothing.
And what do you do with a cell phone? You start checking the numbers and see who it belongs to.
There's a lot of calls from this one number yesterday. I'm gonna call it back, see who it is.
And the person on the other side of this phone call will spark an investigation into a twisted web of love and deceit, all surrounding one woman. 22-year-old Erica Yancey. Born in Michigan City, Indiana in 1986, Erica Yancey was a bright and loving child, but sadly, her early life was marred by tragedy.
Erica's father was murdered.
In the eyes of her family, Erica became a very special child.
We all kind of gathered around, and as they say in the Western, we circled the wagons to protect Erica.
She was the apple of my eye. You always protected your last child, and I didn't consider her a grandchild. I considered her my child.
Growing up, Erica worked hard at her studies, graduated high school, and in 2005, she jumped at an offer to move in with her aunt in the D.C. area, and soon landed a job handling baggage at Dulles International Airport.
Erica ended up being the first woman with that company that drove one of the tugs, that bus that moves the plane into place.
As aggressive as Erica was about her job, she was even more excited to be living in a place as diverse and open-minded as Metro D.C.
She went buck wild. She got into this different alternative lifestyle. She decided that she was gay. She cut off all of her hair. She got piercings. She got tattoos.
I figured that was just a stage everybody went through. She did what she wanted to do, but she became her own person. And she was a lovely person.
Erica also bought a new car, a silver 2007 Hyundai. It was her pride and joy, a sign of her newfound freedom and mobility.
Once she got the car, you can see her just like a little bird getting her wings and just ready to do things.
Erica also started surfing the net, meeting new friends and new love interests in online chat rooms.
She would meet people online and talk to them and just go meet them.
She informed us that she had met a friend that lived in New York. And my sister Paige and I found out about it, and we told her, over our dead bodies, are you going? And of course, she went.
During the trip, Erica found a new lover and a new responsibility.
I found out that Erica, like the young lady that she met in New York, we found out that Erica was sending her money because she had kids. She wanted to help those people that had less than she did.
It wouldn't be the only young woman that Erica fell for online. While Erica was seeing the young woman in New York, she met Ellen Parker.
Erica and Ellen met on an online site, and in the course of chatting online, they discovered that they worked very near to each other.
But unlike her previous online connection, Erica and Ellen's relationship wasn't physical. Ellen was heterosexual and was living with her boyfriend, Marcus Williams, with whom she had a lovely child.
Ellen Phillips and Marcus Williams were an item. They had an apartment together.
Pregnant with their second child, Ellen and Marcus had their share of problems, from a lack of quality childcare to occasional cash flow issues. But ever the giving soul, Erica was glad to help out any way possible, which allowed her to do a good deed while strengthening her relationship with Ellen.
I can remember telling her, you know, Erica, that's not something that you really want to get involved in. But because she was such a caring person, she got involved.
In fact, Ellen and Erica grew so close that when Ellen gave birth, Erica was right by her side at the hospital.
She called it her baby. So my mom said, you a picture of my baby when you get a baby. Then she said, no, it's my friend's baby.
In September 2008, Ellen, Marcus, and their two children moved into a cozy 3-bedroom apartment near the airport. Soon after that, they invited Erica to come live with them. And though her biological family had no idea what to make of Erica's living arrangement or her continued relationship with her lover in New York, the 22-year-old felt she was living the life of her dreams.
She was off on her own for the first time and don't know whether to go blind or bark at the moon.
But Erica Yancey's dream takes a deeply disturbing turn on November 17, 2008. It starts when investigators are called to an apartment complex in suburban D.C., the same apartment complex where Erica, Ellen, and Marcus recently moved in. They've been asked to investigate a bloody trail that leads from the parking garage to a nearby dumpster. Searching the dumpster, they find several personal items, including a cell phone. As CSIs continue their search, detectives review the phone's incoming call log. It seems someone had repeatedly called this phone the day before. Dialing the number, they connect with Jacqueline Goodall.
Hi, this is Detective John with the police department. We found this phone near a crime scene and was trying to determine whose phone it was.
A crime scene?
My number came up on her phone.
Jacqueline's surprised to hear an unfamiliar voice calling from this phone. It's registered to her favorite niece, 22-year-old Erica Yancey, who lives in the apartment complex where the phone was found.
We didn't know where Erica was. We couldn't reach her. And I received a call. They found a cell phone. They found clothes that were bloody. And that's when he began to explain to me that they saw a lot of blood.
A lot of blood? What do you mean a lot of blood?
Ma'am, there's actually quite a bit.
Is it so much blood that she might not be alive?
It's a terrifying proposition, one that opens a floodgate of other possibilities. Is there a connection between the trail of blood and the personal items detectives found in the trash? Has Erica been the victim of a violent attack? If so, where is she now? While Erica's family holds out hope, detectives race to answer these questions. But little do they know, the case is about to take a dark and deeply sinister turn. "22-year-old Erica Yancey discovered newfound freedom when she moved into an apartment in Herndon, Virginia, with her online acquaintance turned best friend, Ellen Parker, and Ellen's boyfriend, Marcus Williams.
They connected with each other and realized that they had a lot in common. They basically worked in the same area, and the friendship struck up from there.
It seemed like a friendship destined to last forever. But on November 17, 2008, Erica suddenly disappeared. And all that's left behind is a trail of blood in her parking garage, leading to a dumpster filled with her personal belongings.
They find the blood, they want to search the trash to see if something's in there.
They went in piece by piece, bag by bag, and collected whatever evidence, but then, of course, you got to separate the garbage from the evidence. And that is very hard to do.
It's a process that also takes time, something investigators and Erica's family know is in very short supply.
We didn't know where Erica was or how she was. I thought she was somewhere laying in a ditch someplace.
Detectives are eager to interview Erica's roommates, Marcus Williams and his girlfriend, Ellen Parker.
We'd like to ask you a couple of questions.
What is this about?
Well, we believe someone abducted and attacked Erica Yancey.
Okay, all right, come in.
According to best friend Ellen, the last time she saw her roommate was the day before.
The morning of November 16, Erica and Ellen get up, and Erica drives Ellen to work at her place of business near Dulles Airport. They had one car that they were sharing. It was Erica's car. And so Ellen expected that Erica would go back home, maybe go back to sleep.
Well, basically, I made her lunch for her, and she gave me a ride to work, and she told me that she would give me a call later on, and I just didn't hear anything from her the whole day.
She never received a telephone call at work that day, which she thought was a little unusual. It wasn't anything major. But Ellen continued by saying that throughout the entire day, she never heard anything from Erica.
Ellen says that following her shift, she had a coworker drive her home. Erica's car wasn't in the parking garage, which seemed a bit out of the ordinary. And when Ellen set foot inside the apartment, something else caught her eye.
The first thing she recognized is that the lunch that she had made for Erica had not been eaten or touched. So she began wondering, well, what could have happened to Erica?
Ellen figured, well, Erica must be off visiting her family, and I'll talk to her at some point.
Detectives also question Ellen's boyfriend, Marcus Williams, who confirms that after Erica drove Ellen to work, she never returned to their apartment.
So you didn't see her the rest of the day?
I've been here watching the kids all day. I haven't seen her since this morning.
After a search of the residence, police find no sign of Erica, nor do they find signs of foul play. It appears the couple's version of events is accurate. So what happened to Erica, and where is she now?
Maybe somebody had robbed her, or somebody had took her car, that she had fought him, that she had gotten hurt.
I thought she was carjacked, yeah. I thought somebody was trying to rob her.
That's not the only theory being floated.
So she just started experimenting with her life.
Maybe she met someone online, and that situation ended up being a terrible situation.
As the investigation shifts into high gear, Erica's mother flies to Virginia from her home in Indiana.
They're still looking for her. They had the news cast everywhere. I was on the news telling them just to let her come home.
But just days after the televised plea, officers make a huge discovery.
An officer observed a car fitting the description of the missing car.
The car is parked in the handicap zone of an industrial parking lot. The officer runs the tags, and confirms it's Erica's car.
Investigators looked inside the car and noticed there was a body partially covered in the back seat.
Erica is lying in the back seat on the floor.
For Erica's family, it's a gut-wrenching turn of events.
Calling my mom was the hardest thing that I've ever done because Erica was her baby.
I was angry, like anybody. I wanted to really get to the person.
As Erica's family grapples with this tragedy, police know a stone-cold killer remains at large. And soon clues from the crime scene will fuel new speculation as to what may have happened to the young woman almost everyone adored. On November 19, 2008, the frantic search for missing 22-year-old Erica Yancey came to a grim end when police found her body in the back of her car.
She had been stabbed several other places on the body, but the main wound was a serious throat slit.
You can't do that to somebody. You don't do that to somebody. There's no reason for it. There's no reason for violence like that.
Erica's car is parked at a business a half a mile away from her apartment complex. As investigators examine the gory scene, it's obvious Erica had put up the fight of her life.
Multiple stab wounds to her body, a lot of stab wounds on the backside of her hands.
Anytime you might see wounds to the hand, elbows, and arms, those are defensive wounds. You know, someone's getting stabbed, they're putting their arms up and stuff, trying to stop the blows from coming.
Searching the crime scene, CSIs locate what appears to be the murder weapon, buried in a potted plant beside the car.
The apparent murder weapon, the box cutter, was found with Erica's blood on it.
After tagging the evidence, the next question for investigators is what may have sparked this violent encounter. Judging by the nature of Erica's wounds, the robbery angle seems like an unlikely motive.
On a street robbery, you won't have a victim receiving so many stab wounds. The assailant wants to just go in, do what they gotta do, and leave. Erica had a significant wound underneath her neck from the left side to the right side. The type of person that will cause that type of injury to another person is a person who's passionate.
The possibility that Erica may have known her assailant is a chilling thought. But just how had her body wound up here?
They sliced her neck, put her body in the car, and then they drove her body off about a half mile away from where she lived.
Detectives decide it's time to take a closer look at Erica's personal relationships. Could her killer be one of the many women she'd allegedly wooed on the internet?
Well, when you meet people in cyberspace, you only meet what they want you to meet.
Erica's hardest thing was trusting. She trusted everybody and believed everybody.
Speaking to Erica's family again, one love interest rises to the top of the suspect list.
She was seeing somebody in New York and she's doing this, and she's just going out being all kind of just gallivanting around, just having a good old time.
What can you tell us about this woman?
Well, I don't know that much about her, but a lot.
I think she was mixed up about her relationships.
To police, it seems they may have finally found a motive that fits the crime. Could Erica's lover in New York be jealous about her other girlfriends or her unique relationship with Ellen and Marcus? If that's the case, could that jealousy have boiled over into rage?
My initial thoughts is, you know what? That New York girl, she done did something crazy.
Police identify Erica's lover and race to New York. Detectives can't help but wonder if this is the big break they're looking for. But to their surprise, when police confront Erica's girlfriend about her death, she seems genuinely shocked. Pressing her further, she denies any involvement in Erica's death and claims to have never left New York.
Well, I've been here.
You've been here
Yes, I've been here in New York.
the whole time?
Yes.
While police attempt to verify her alibi, she makes a startling confession.
How well did you know her?
I loved Erica, but me and Erica weren't exclusive. We decided to see other people, and she hasn't been here in a while.
To police, it's not the news they're expecting to hear, and seems to undermine any motive on her part. A fact that's ultimately confirmed when her alibi checks out. With their investigation stymied, police decide to circle back around to the crime scene they'd encountered days earlier. Having already scoured the parking garage where Erica's body was found, detectives turn to the help of canine officers.
A bloodhound was brought in by the police department, and these dogs are specifically trained to follow scents.
Using scents from items found inside her car, the dog takes off. But to their surprise, it doesn't lead its handler away from the scene, but straight back to Erica's apartment building.
The Fairfax County dog was able to follow the trail of blood from the parking spot through the parking lot to the door to the apartment complex, but loses the scent.
But why would Erica's killer return to the original crime scene?
Only residents typically can get in and out of the building, and that leads police to believe this person is likely a resident of this building.
Could someone in Erica's own complex really be behind this terrible crime? As police dig deeper, they discover a shocking new clue, along with a lover who's harboring a very deep secret. "22-year-old Erica Yancey believed she had the world at her fingertips. A baggage handler for Delta Airlines, she had a great job, a second family, and a lover in New York.
She was just ready to live life.
But that life came to a terrible end when police found Erica savagely stabbed to death in the back seat of her new car.
The person that did this to this victim was angry, was more like in a jealous rage. They wanted this person out of their life permanently.
At first, investigators suspect Erica's girlfriend in New York might have murdered her out of jealousy. But the woman has an airtight alibi. With the assailant still at large, investigators turn their attention back to Erica's vehicle, where a bloodhound provides them with one very curious clue.
The dog starts at where Erica's body is found with the car and traces the trail back to the apartment complex.
This seems like someone who's very familiar with this building is involved in this.
But who? With more than 200 units in the sprawling apartment complex, detectives know they have their work cut out for them. But before they start knocking on too many doors, detectives receive a call from their CSI team. They found something in the dumpster besides Erica's belongings.
There was clothing that they found that had blood on it.
There was a worn tank top, some commonly referred to as time as a wife beater. There was blue jeans, gloves, and 2 ski masks.
The gloves in the trash had Erica's blood on them, and that also had unknown DNA.
Finding 2 sets of gloves and masks means 2 people could be involved in this brutal attack. This revelation prompts detectives to pay another visit to the pair of apartment residents closest to Erica, her roommates, Ellen Parker and Marcus Williams.
These are passionate wounds. So you start looking to her. Well, she has Ellen, who's her friend. She also has Marcus, who's her friend.
Police ask the couple to come down to the station for a formal interview. Once there, detectives begin by questioning Ellen Parker.
So neither you nor Marcus had anything to do with this murder?
No.
You're hiding something.
That's when Ellen finally confesses, not to murder, but to a passionate love affair with Erica.
Initially, they were just online friends, but then that relationship blossomed into something more.
Ellen admits the relationship was unexpected, but their deep attraction for one another was undeniable.
I thought Erica loved Ellen. And from my perception, I thought Ellen loved Erica. It looked like it was blooming love.
In fact, She says the situation had grown so steamy that Erica, not Marcus, was sleeping in the master bedroom with her.
Suddenly, Erica and Ellen are sharing the main bedroom, and Marcus is in the other bedroom.
According to Ellen, it wasn't her first affair with another woman.
Marcus and I had an agreement. He's let me do this before. I've been with women before. He hasn't ever had a problem with it, and he's fine with us having like an open relationship and me exploring what's out there.
But Ellen does admit that this lesbian liaison had gone farther than the rest.
And Ellen described a romantic night out that she and Erica had, I think it was about 2 weeks earlier, maybe less. They had an expensive night out at a hotel.
But when Erica and Ellen returned home from their steamy night out, they discovered someone had vandalized Erica's beloved new car.
Someone keyed her vehicle and caused her to become very upset. Was someone so hurt by the fact that now Erica and Ellen are going away on a romantic getaway so that they're gonna scratch this car?
According to Ellen, after Erica's car was keyed, the living arrangement with Marcus continued to deteriorate. And in October of 2008, Ellen decided it was time to put an end to the relationship.
Ellen told Marcus, "We're through. We're breaking up. I'm moving out. I'm taking the kids." Ellen and Erica were going to be moving in together.
Could the threat of losing his girlfriend and children to another woman have pushed Marcus over the edge?
No. Marcus loved Erica like his sister. There's no way that he could have done that.
Did Ellen know more than she was letting on? And could jealousy have eaten into her heart? During her interrogation, Ellen had admitted she was aware of Erica's other lover.
Ellen had said that she had heard a voicemail on Erica's phone about another woman.
Was there an argument just before she left? Was there some kind of a dispute between them? They had to consider Ellen a person of interest.
But Ellen remains adamant neither she nor Marcus had anything to do with Erica's death. While police check out Ellen's alibi that she was at work, they turn up the heat on Marcus Williams.
How did you feel about your girlfriend running off with another woman?
Well, it didn't really make me happy.
But Marcus asserts he's no killer. He claims that when Erica went missing, he was at home watching his kids.
Sir, it's like I told you guys earlier. There's no possible way I could have been anywhere else. I swear, man, I'm innocent.
While police certainly have their suspicions, they have no hard evidence on which to hold either Marcus or Ellen. Still, they swab them both for DNA in case they are able to link them to the crime scene. And after confirming Ellen's alibi, police released them that afternoon.
Ellen was at work, and that was quickly substantiated by the police. She was at work that morning.
The police are definitely keeping an eye on Marcus, and they had, at this point, interviewed him extensively. They've taken his DNA, and they know where he is.
While Marcus maintains his innocence, Erica's family prepares to lay her to rest.
After Erica's body was found, they did hold a memorial service for her, and 100 people showed up to pay tribute to her.
Among the throng of mourners are Ellen Parker and Marcus Williams. Marcus remains low-key and respectful, but after viewing Erica's body, Ellen loses it.
Ellen was, "Oh my God, I'm so scared. I don't know who had did this. And, maybe they're after me and I got to get away," and she was crying.
Shortly after the funeral, although Ellen and Erica had been an item, Marcus and Ellen reconnect and move to Michigan with Ellen's mother.
Without any evidence tying Marcus to the crime, police are powerless to stop the couple from moving. They vow to Erica's family they won't stop until the crime is solved. But months pass with no new developments. Then on September 21st, 2009, there's a shocking break in the case.
Michael Thomas is arrested and charged with murder.
The announcement leaves Erica's friends and family stunned.
I was like, who is Michael Thomas and what does Michael Thomas have to do with any of this?
Who is this mystery man? And what role had he allegedly played in this crime? That answer is about to come to light, and the truth is far more twisted than anyone could ever believe. September 1st, 2009. 10 months after Erica Yancey was slashed to death with a box cutter, police make a surprise arrest in the case. 27-year-old Maryland resident, Michael Thomas.
There was a significant amount of evidence that was found in the dumpster in the apartment building in the garage. The DNA found inside the gloves belonged to Michael.
It's enough evidence to charge Michael with the crime, but detectives are still curious about his connection to the victim. Unfortunately, Erica's family is at a loss.
I knew nothing about Michael Thomas. We didn't know anything about Michael Thomas.
And as police dig deeper into his background, an unlikely picture of the alleged perpetrator begins to emerge.
Michael Thomas was kind of a geeky, nerdy, church-going, all the good things that people want to say about their child. So he went to school, got an education, came back, got a job, taught for a year as a teacher.
Very even-tempered, mild-mannered. I've never seen him angry, never seen him out of control.
While Michael doesn't exactly fit the profile of a killer, the background check turns up something else. According to his friends and family, Michael doesn't live in Erica's apartment complex, but he knows someone that did. Marcus Williams.
Michael Thomas was Marcus's friend. He didn't live in this area, but he came to town and was visiting, and they spent Saturday night together watching a UFC pay-per-view fight at their apartment.
Investigators also learned that the night before Erica's attack, Marcus invited Michael Thomas to spend the night at his apartment.
Michael Thomas was there, and he slept on the couch that night, or appeared to be asleep on the couch when Ellen and Erica left for work that morning.
To detectives, the timing seems more than coincidental and suggests not only that Michael Thomas was involved in Erica's murder, but Marcus Williams might have been too. That theory is supported when the results of DNA tests on Erica's clothes come back from the lab.
When the DNA tests came back, it showed that Marcus's DNA was on a number of these bloody clothing items that had Erica's blood on.
24 hours later, police arrest Marcus in Michigan and extradite him back to Virginia for the murder of his former roommate, Erica Yancey.
I was shocked that it was who it was. I kept saying, why did they do it? Why did they kill her like that? Why?
With neither suspect talking and their trials scheduled for separate dates, those answers don't become clear until April 30th, 2010. That day, Marcus Williams is led into a Fairfax County courtroom to stand trial for first-degree murder.
When I went to the trial and I saw Marcus standing right by me, he looked like any other normal, dressed well person. You know, you wouldn't picture him as someone who would kill somebody.
But prosecutors believe they've got the right man. In their opening arguments, they assert Marcus had grown increasingly bitter about his girlfriend Ellen Parker's sexual relationship with Erica Yancey.
Ellen and Erica move into the same bedroom, and Marcus moves into another bedroom. And Ellen and Erica become the couple of the house.
Your significant other, the mother of your children, come in and another woman come put you out of your room, out of your bed. That's a slap in the face for most men.
Prosecutors say the last straw came in October 2008, when Ellen told Marcus she was leaving him for Erica once and for all. They assert that on November 16th, Marcus enlisted the help of his friend, Michael Thomas. After Erica dropped Ellen off at work, Marcus and Michael donned masks and gloves and set out to remove Erica from Marcus's life for good.
It was jealousy. He felt that she was taking his family from him.
Leaving his and Ellen's children alone in the apartment, Marcus and Michael ambushed Erica not far from her car. As Erica struggled to break free from her attackers, one of them pulled out a box cutter and slashed her throat.
They killed her, put her body in the car, threw all of the evidence in the local dumpster. And then they drove her body off about a half mile away from where she lived.
With all the evidence hidden away, the two then walked back to Marcus's apartment.
Marcus wanted Erica out of there because he had been, kicked to the curb. by Ellen. So the motive presumably was to get Erica out of the picture and so that Marcus could reunite this family.
To bolster that theory, prosecutors highlight the slew of physical evidence that points to Marcus's guilt. The state's DNA findings, the scent trail leading back to the apartment, and last but not least, a surprise piece of evidence some intrepid CSIs found in the parking garage not far from the pool of blood.
But they found a lot of bleach. And to investigators, when you find bleach on a crime scene like that, you know someone there has been trying to clean up or get rid of evidence.
It had to be somebody in the building because of the bleach.
One would have to reasonably conclude Marcus had to have been the person who committed this horrible act.
But Marcus's defense team argues otherwise, highlighting the lack of eyewitnesses or any surveillance footage tying him to Erica's murder. To bolster that assertion, they call Erica's former lover, Ellen Parker, to the stand.
Ellen said, I don't think Marcus could have done this. Marcus isn't like that. Erica and Marcus got along very well, and pointed out that after the homicide, Ellen and Marcus got back together and lived together with their children again.
For Erica's friends and family listening in the courtroom, the testimony, along with Ellen's decision to stand by Marcus, strikes as the ultimate betrayal.
I think Ellen used Erica. I think that Erica to Ellen was just a meal ticket that she could manipulate. She was young and dumb, and this was somebody that she could just use.
While Ellen's testimony seems to undermine the state's case, defense attorneys still have one major hurdle to overcome: Marcus's DNA found on the bloody clothing. But his attorneys believe they can explain away that evidence.
Erica sometimes wore men's clothes, and she sometimes wore Marcus's clothes, which is why the defense said Marcus's DNA would be on clothing worn by Erica, including the bloody clothing.
The defense has made a powerful argument, but after 6 days of grueling testimony, is it enough to sway the jury? The answer to that question is about to send a jolt right through the courtroom.
For us, it was not a matter of whether or not he was guilty. It was whether or not the jury was going to find him guilty.
In a Fairfax County courtroom, prosecutors have argued that with the help of his friend, Michael Thomas, a jealous Marcus Williams killed his ex-girlfriend's lesbian lover, Erica Yancey, in an effort to get his family back together.
In his mind at the time, that was the only way he could get away with Ellen, is to get rid of Erica.
Prosecutors claim DNA evidence found on bloody clothing implicates both Marcus and Michael in the twisted crime. It's a contention Marcus's defense team has fought hard to dispute throughout the trial.
The defense lawyers for Marcus pointed out that they all lived together, so they're just by being in the same house and doing the laundry, the DNA could have mixed.
It's certainly a plausible theory, but will the jury buy it? On May 5th, 2010, after hours of deliberation, they returned with Marcus's verdict: guilty.
The range for murder one is 20 years to life in Virginia, and they gave him the minimum, 20 years.
Felt great when they said 20 years. Wish it would have been more.
Less than 2 weeks later, on May 17th, 2010, alleged co-conspirator Michael Thomas's murder trial gets underway. Michael's friends and family still can't believe the charges levied against this seemingly straight-laced, even-tempered young man.
Just seems so out of character. This was just the last thing on earth that you would ever have thought about Michael Thomas.
But once the trial's underway, there's no refuting the physical evidence squarely placing Michael at the scene.
Why would his DNA be on the inside of a glove that has blood on it? Unless he had those gloves on at one time.
The jury agrees, and on June 1st, they hand down a similar verdict and sentence to the one imposed on Marcus Williams: 20 years in prison.
They really should have stayed in jail for the rest of their life. Erica can't come home, and neither should they.
But in a case where so much pain still lingers, many wonder if this heartache could have been avoided if Marcus hadn't let his jealousy get the best of him.
To even be able to handle this, you just have to take all of these little memories and all of these things that happened during the trial and how horrible it was, and put it in a box and put it away.
I wrote the letter to Marcus, and I told him I forgave him. He let Satan use him, and I feel bad that he did. I sent a picture of Erica in the letter. I said you can look at her every day and know what you did to her for no reason.
Emotionally distraught, her blood pressure through the roof. She had discovered the missing money. She demanded that Priscilla be removed from all business accounts immediately. The bank told her they could not do it right then. She had to come back on Monday. Imagine the psychological collapse within that family dynamic. Margaret, a woman who worked her whole life to build a legacy, realizes her own daughter is a parasite draining her dry. The heartbreak must have been unbearable. She confronts Priscilla. She tells her the financial umbilical cord is being cut. Priscilla is about to lose the business, the money, the lifestyle, everything. Priscilla does not feel remorse. She feels a panic. She calculates her mother's life against her own comfort. By Monday morning, Margaret has to die before she can reach that bank. Priscilla drives to the house. She walks into the bedroom of the woman who gave her life, points a gun at her head, and pulls the trigger. When she returns hours later to check the body and finds her mother still breathing, she does not call an ambulance. She finishes the job. Then she knocks out a little piece of glass, scatters some jewelry, and plays the grieving daughter. It is a level of cold-blooded pathology that chills you to the bone. We arrest her. She sits in the interrogation room, stone-faced. She refuses to acknowledge her mother is even dead, the ultimate act of denial. But arrogant criminals always make one last mistake. While out on bond awaiting trial, Priscilla calls a convenience store clerk who blew up her alibi. We tap the phone. We listen as Priscilla tries to manipulate the witness, try and convince her she remembered the wrong day. It is pathetic. They took her to trial. It was a circumstantial case. We never found the murder weapon. But the jury saw through the fog. They saw the motive. They saw the lies. And they saw the monster sitting at the defense table. Guilty. Life in prison with the possibility of parole. People ask me how a daughter could kill her own mother. I tell them she stopped seeing a mother a long time ago. She only saw a bank account. When you let money become your god, human life becomes nothing more than a transaction. Margaret Abernathy deserved a quiet retirement surrounded by grandchildren. Instead, she got a bullet from the one person she trusted the most. The Abernathy family did not just lose a matriarch that day. The entire family died in that house. That is the tragedy of murder. It does not just stop one beating heart. It shatters the souls of everyone left behind. The scent of a secret. Humans are peculiar creatures. They kill for the most ridiculous reasons you can imagine, and they cover it up in ways that defy all logical comprehension. It is May of 2005 in the sleepy little retiree town of St. Petersburg, Florida. Yellow Pine Drive is quiet, peaceful, a place where people go to live out their twilight years. But behind the doors of foreclosed mobile home, a nightmare is waiting to be unpacked. At 10:30 in the morning, a cleaning crew arrives. They have been hired by a finance company to clear out a property that has been abandoned for almost 9 months. They open the door, and they are immediately hit by a wall of stench. They assume it is rotting food left in a disconnected refrigerator. My. If you have ever smelled the unmistakable odor of human decomposition, you never forget it. It clings to your clothes, it gets into your hair, it settles into your very soul. But these are civilians. They do not know any better. They walked past a half-undecorated Christmas tree, past Star Wars memorabilia and a foosball table. Assuming a child lived there, the trailer looks like a time capsule, abandoned in a hurry, but then they notice something strange. There are cardboard car air fresheners everywhere. Dial air fresheners on the counters, in the closets, boxes of baking soda, bowls of potpourri. Someone was desperately trying to hide something. They saved the worst-smelling bedroom for last. The door is shut. They walk in and find a mattress piled high with blankets. When they try to lift the bedding, it sticks to the mattress like Velcro. And then a plastic bag tears open and a human foot falls out, a foot with 5 toes. The cleaner calls 911, terrified. When patrol officers arrive, they find a body so badly decomposed, so mummified, they cannot even determine a race or gender. But the medical examiner finds the undeniable truth hidden beneath the decay. A single .38 caliber bullet hole in the forehead. No exigund, no signs of a struggle. This is not a natural death. This is cold, calculated murder. The innocent and the burden. To understand a murder, you have to understand the ghosts that haunt the living. Tax records show the trailer belonged to 2 sisters, Barbara and Deborah Burns. We need to identify the mummified remains, and the neighbors give us the key. They tell us Deborah had severe scoliosis, walked with a distinct limp, and only had 3 teeth. The medical examiner confirms the physical traits, and mitochondrial DNA makes it official. The victim is 40-year-old Deborah Burns. I tell you, my heart breaks for this victim. Deborah contracted scarlet fever when she was 2 years old. It ravaged her brain, leaving her permanently disabled, trapped forever with the mental capacity of a 6-year-old child. She was innocent, vulnerable, and completely dependent on the people around her. And someone put a bullet in her brain. That makes my blood boil. We treat victims of homicide with the utmost respect because they can no longer speak for themselves. We speak for them. So where's the older sister, Barbara? We dig into their past, and a tragic, suffocating picture emerges. Barbara was born in 1951, when her father died. She was pulled out of high school at the age of 15 to become Deborah's full-time nursemaid. Her life simply stopped. For 40 years, she worked minimum wage jobs, coming home to cook, clean, and care for her disabled sister and her aging mother. No social life, no freedom, just endless, grinding responsibility. In the year 2000, their mother passed away from Alzheimer's. Shortly after, their brother John died, but he left them an inheritance of $350,000. For the first time in her life, Barbara could breathe. She quit her job. They bought an $80,000 mobile home. They traveled to California and Australia. But a person with the mind of a 6-year-old does not understand financial restraint. Deborah bought pinball machines, endless toys, and showered expensive gifts on a man she met on the internet, who vanished the moment the cash dried up. In just 3 years, they blew through every single penny. They went from having it all to facing foreclosure, the breaking point. When the money ran out, the fantasy shattered. Barbara had to go back to work. Deborah, unable to comprehend the concept of poverty, became demanding, disrespectful, and physically abusive. She would throw tantrums, yell, and even hit Barbara when she did not get her way. The bank records tell a fascinating story. Deborah is dead, but her $651 monthly Social Security checks are still being cashed. By who? Surveillance footage from an automated teller machine gives us the answer. It is Barbara Burns. She is alive, well, and living in Virginia Beach, Virginia. You have to be kidding me. You kill your disabled sister, leave her rotting in a trailer, and flee across the country to cash your checks at a 7-Eleven? Criminals always leave a trail of breadcrumbs, and they always think we are too blind to follow it. My partner and I fly to Virginia Beach. We watch her working behind the counter at 7-Eleven. We wait until the end of her shift at 7 in the morning and make our approach. We bring her into an interview room. She is calm. She is cool. I ask her if she has any siblings. She looks me dead in the eye and says she has no relatives at all. I show her a picture of Deborah. She says she does not remember her. I tell you, the sheer audacity of it is staggering. You cared for this girl for 40 years. You slept in the same room, your heads inches apart, listening to her breathe every single night. And now you expect me to believe you do not know her? We press her. We tell her Deborah is dead. We tell her a body was found in her foreclosed home. And finally, the facade cracks. The tears come. She tells us about August 14th. It was Deborah's 40th birthday. They went out to eat, and an argument over money erupted. It turned into a physical fight back at the trailer. Deborah finally went to sleep. Barbara sat in the living room, terrified of her sister waking up and starting the cycle of abuse all over again. She had reached her absolute limit. She walked to the dresser, took out a handgun she bought for protection, stood over her sleeping sister, and pulled the trigger. The devil you know. She shot her once in the head, and then the panic set in. She unloaded the gun, hid the spent casing in the middle of a box of 50 rounds, and put the gun in a drawer. She wrapped her sister in sheets and plastic bags, and then she stayed. She lived in that house with her sister's decomposing corpse for 6 whole weeks, buying cardboard air fresheners and baking soda to hide the stench of her own sin. Barbara Burns was a good person who carried a crushing burden for 4 decades until she simply snapped. The defense attorney saw it. The prosecutor saw it. The judge saw it. They offered her a plea deal for manslaughter, and she took 15 years in prison. With good behavior, she was released after 12 years. Today, she walks free back in St. Petersburg. She tells people she does not remember pulling the trigger. She says she misses Deborah, wishes she could see her face every morning. Sometimes circumstances create a devil. The pressure of a ruined life, an empty bank account, and a thankless, endless task pushed a quiet woman to commit an unspeakable act of betrayal. But a devil is still a devil. You can buy all the air fresheners in the world, Barbara, but you can never wash away the scent of what you did in that room. The investigation into murder of Fred Brown remains one of the most chilling examples of how greed can poison the human spirit, turning a seemingly ordinary life into a stage for cold-blooded betrayal. It began on a quiet spring morning in April 1991 in the town of High Point, North Carolina, a community where folks rarely worried about locked doors or safety. Major Tom Shepard, a seasoned law enforcement officer, was called to the scene on Highway 68 with a body of 45-year-old Fred Brown lay face down in a ditch, executed with 2 shots to the head and 1 to the back. His life taken by someone he had likely trusted enough to stop for on a dark road. While the scene appeared staged as a robbery due to a missing wallet, the presence of a footprint on the victim's back told a different story to the investigators, revealing an act of personal, calculated malice rather than a random crime. Fred Brown was a man who lived a life of service, a Vietnam veteran and an economics professor who was universally regarded as a kind, steady, and decent human being. His life had been defined by his devotion to his family, including his wife Patricia, whom he had married in 1969 after meeting her at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. For 2 decades, they built a life together, but the harmony began to shatter after Patricia underwent open-heart surgery in 1990. This medical crisis triggered a profound shift in her mental state, as she became increasingly obsessed with a collection of dozens of exotic birds and demanded expensive home renovations that pushed the couple into severe financial strain. Despite the constant verbal abuse and the pressure of their mounting debts, Fred remained committed to marriage, clinging to his religious beliefs against divorce, all while expressing a haunting fear to his friend and colleague, Kenneth Vaughn, that his wife wanted him dead. The investigation initially stalled because Patricia provided a solid alibi, and with no forensic evidence to link anyone to the roadside execution, the case grew cold, leaving Patricia to collect life insurance and move to Alabama to restart her life with the proceeds of her husband's death. It was only 3 years later, in July of 1994, that the truth surfaced through the conscience and perhaps the vengeful bitterness of a man named Leroy Wetzel. After being taken into custody in Pennsylvania, Leroy, the ex-husband of Patricia's sister, Sheila, revealed in a series of handwritten letters that he had been hired by the two sisters to murder Fred in exchange for $30,000. He described the grim efficiency of the night, detailing how he had faked a car breakdown on Gallimore Dairy Road, lured Fred into a trap, and then shot him in the back as he attempted to flee. The motive was as pathetic as it was monstrous, as Patricia sought to secure a large life insurance payout to maintain her lavish lifestyle and her obsession with her birds, while Leroy carried out the hit under the false promise of payment. When the evidence of phone records and the confession finally allowed investigators to arrest the sisters, the courtroom became the stage for a final, harrowing reckoning where Leroy reenacted the murder, shaking and trembling as he held a stapler in place of the weapon, despite the defense team's desperate attempts to frame the killing as a failed blackmail plot gone wrong. The jury saw through the facade, convicting Patricia Brown of first-degree murder and sentencing her to life in prison, where she eventually died in 2002. The case stands as a tragic testament to the destruction of lives over nothing more than vanity and greed, leaving behind a memory of a man, Fred Brown, who was simply too good for the darkness that ultimately consumed his world. As a journalist who has spent a lifetime observing the ebb and flow of human societies, I often filter global events through the enduring values of our culture, a deep appreciation for social solidarity, a grounded connection to reality, and the pursuit of a balanced, moderate life. When a community forgets these principles, prioritizing boundless material wealth over spiritual peace, the consequences can be devastating, such as the tragic case that unfolded in Arlington, Texas, in the summer of 2012, a story that demands not just our attention, but our profound empathy and psychological reflection, the illusion of boundless prosperity. In the year 2000, Long Nguyen and Hong Lee, a devoted married couple, left their homeland of Vietnam to seek the American dream in the United States. Like many immigrants who arrived during the 80s and 90s, they brought with them a profound work ethic and a deep love for their 3 children and growing grandchildren. They settled in Arlington, a city known for its diverse communities and strong cultural heritage, and established a commercial garment business. For nearly a decade, through relentless labor, they found success, even securing lucrative contracts with major corporations. However, life is rarely a continuous ascent. By the year 2011, their fortunes had turned. The major contracts vanished, and their business began to collapse under mounting debt. It is here that we must pause and reflect on the psychological burden placed upon individuals who tie their entire sense of worth to material success. Instead of finding solace in their family, downscaling their lives, and finding peace in moderation, the family succumbed to a profound, paralyzing fear of failure. Driven by desperation, they abandoned rational solutions and turned to ancient superstitions, believing a spiritual curse was responsible for their financial ruin. The descent into predatory mysticism, encouraged by her son-in-law, a 38-year-old man named Chow Tran, who acted as the face of the family business. Hong Lee sought the help of a spiritual advisor located 250 miles away in Houston. Her name was Daphne Wright, a 44-year-old woman who advertised her ability to remove curses and restore good fortune. Daphne Wright is a stark representation of unchecked greed. Psychologically, she operated as a predator, possessing a chilling ability to identify and exploit the vulnerabilities of desperate people. She demanded exorbitant fees for her rituals, pushing the family into a staggering debt of roughly $250,000 to $280,000. Daphne did not offer healing. She offered a psychological prison, manipulating the family's deep-seated fears until they were entirely under her control. When the family inevitably could not pay this massive, fabricated debt, the situation turned fatal. Daphne Wright, devoid of empathy, sought to collect her money by targeting the family's life insurance policies, which were valued at over $1 million. A morning of unimaginable sorrow. On the 10th of June, 2012, at 29 minutes past 7 in the morning, emergency dispatchers receive a call from Chow Tran. He requested a welfare check on his in-laws, claiming the family was too terrified to enter the apartment after seeing signs of a disturbance. Responding officers, some with over 21 years of experience, entered the home to find a stage scene designed to look like a robbery committed by a local street faction. There was a blue cloth wrapped around a bottle, herbal narcotics, and crushed medication scattered about. Tragically, inside the bedroom closet, officers discovered Long, in his 70s, and his wife Hong. They had been forcibly restrained and had suffered a fatal, merciless assault. The profound loss of this gentle, hard-working couple deeply rattled the local community. To protect the dignity of the victims and the sensibilities of the public, the Prescott National Forest provided the residents of Prescott, Arizona, with endless recreational activities and a beautiful backdrop for their daily lives. The towering trees and sweeping landscapes were a source of peace and joy for the community. During the daytime, people rode their bicycles and enjoyed the fresh air, creating fond memories with friends and family. It was a close community, one where neighbors knew each other and shared in the simple joys of life. At the heart of this vibrant town was a 19-year-old girl named Pamela Pitts. Pamela, known affectionately to her loved ones as Pam, was known for her bright smile and endless zest for life. She was a wonderful young woman who was always doing something productive, always wanted to share happiness with those around her. She was the type of person who could make friends with absolutely anybody she met. Outgoing, artistic, and deeply excited about the future, her energy was truly magnetic. As the oldest of 4 children, Pam loved nothing more than her family. Her father, Paul, cherished their bond. To him, she was not just a daughter, but a sidekick and a source of constant pride. Pam was incredible with all her younger siblings, acting as an inspiring mentor and a guiding light. She took them under her wing, guiding them through life with a gentle and humorous spirit. Whenever they needed advice or just a comforting presence, she was always there. They could count on her, confide in her, and trust her completely. Her cheerful laughter often filled their home, reminding everyone of the beautiful, positive moments in life. By the time she turned 19, Pam was ready to explore the world and step into her own independence. She talked often about her big dreams. She had a passion for aesthetics and fashion, frequently mentioning her goal of attending beauty college or pursuing fashion design. She was incredibly artistic, always finding the beauty in the world around her. To make ends meet and save for a bright future, she secured a job at a local restaurant, where her warm personality made her a favorite among both her colleagues and the patrons. During the summer of 1988, Pam decided to move in with a new friend, Shelley Norgard. Shelley was 18 years old and had experienced a very different upbringing. While Pam came from a home filled with warmth, Shelley had faced challenges with her family dynamics. For Shelley, living with Pam was an opportunity to experience a sense of connection and friendship. They shared mutual friends and enjoyed spending time together. In August of 1988, life brought another joyous reunion for Pam. She reconnected with an old friend named Bobby Kitchener. Their renewed connection was sweet and gentle. They took things slow, enjoying the simple pleasure of each other's company. Pam was reinvigorated by their time together, and Bobby was thrilled as he held a deep and enduring fondness for her. Her life beautifully revolved around her friends, her family, and creating a positive atmosphere wherever she went. However, on September 16, 1988, the bright light of Prescott unexpectedly went missing. Shelley reached out to Paul, asking if he knew where his daughter was. At first, Paul maintained a calm and hopeful outlook, believing his responsible daughter would soon return. But when Monday arrived and Pam did not show up for a job at the restaurant, his fatherly intuition told him he needed to act. Pam was never the type of person to abandon her responsibilities or lose contact with her loved. Once, out of an abundance of caution and deep love for his child, Paul contacted the local police department to ask for their help in locating her. The authorities in Prescott, including the Prescott Police Department and the Yavapai County Sheriff Office, immediately demonstrated their dedication to the community. They began a thorough and careful search, speaking to anyone who might have seen the popular young woman. Their investigation was rooted in a deep respect for human life and a commitment to bringing peace to the worried family. 13 days later, on the evening of September 29, 1988, a citizen was enjoying the natural beauty of the forest just outside the city limits. While walking near a recreational area, he made a solemn discovery. He bravely went to a nearby store to call 911, alerting the authorities. The dedicated officers of the Yavapai County Sheriff Office arrived within minutes. They approached the scene with the utmost professionalism and reverence. It was there that they found the tragic resting place of Pamela Pitts. The exact circumstances of her passing were heartbreaking, but the investigators chose to focus on uncovering the truth with dignity. The medical examiner treated her with profound respect, carefully utilizing dental records to confirm her identity so her family could be notified. When the authorities visited Paul to deliver the news, they did so with immense compassion. The loss was mind-boggling and deeply sad for the family, but even in their sorrow, the love they held for Pam remained unbroken. Paul, drawing on his incredible strength as a father, resolved to find answers, trusting in the diligent work of the investigators. The detectives left no stone unturned. They spoke with everyone in Pam's inner circle. They spoke with Bobby Kitchener, who shared his fond final memories of spending a lovely evening downtown with Pam. Talking with friends near the courthouse, Bobby was completely cooperative, and his clear account of his whereabouts helped investigators focus their attention elsewhere. The detectives also spoke extensively with Shelley. They listened to her accounts of the evening and carefully followed up on the details she provided. Shelley shared that she had spent the evening with her boyfriend, Ray Clerks, and other friends. The investigators, committed to a fair and just process, cross-referenced her statements. They learned from other friends of the dynamic between Pam and Shelley had grown complicated over household responsibilities. The officers noted these details, always maintaining a calm and objective perspective, knowing that truth requires patience. Years passed, and the case became quiet, but it was never forgotten. The authorities continued to review statements, hopeful for a breakthrough. They explored every rumor, ensuring that no possibility was ignored. The community remained supportive, holding on to the memory of Pam's joyful spirit. Her family demonstrated remarkable patience and resilience, waiting gracefully for the wheels of justice to turn. Then, on May 25, 1991, a new chapter in the investigation unexpectedly unfolded. Explorers in the area found another heartbreaking scene, leading the authorities to discover the resting place of a young man. The deceased was identified as Ray Clerks, the 24-year-old boyfriend of Shelley Norgard. Ray was a young man with a bright future ahead of him. He was highly responsible and carried a lifelong dream of becoming a commercial airline pilot, a passion that ran deep within his tight-knit family. When he failed to appear for a joyous family wedding in California, his loved ones knew something was wrong. His family loved him dearly, and his sudden absence was deeply felt. The investigators, recognizing a connection between the two tragic losses, approached the new information with renewed focus. Through careful, methodical police work and the gathering of physical evidence, they respectfully unraveled the truth. They discovered that Shelley was responsible for the loss of Ray. In 1993, she took responsibility for her actions regarding Ray, ensuring that his family received a measure of closure. Even with this resolution, the investigators never gave up on Pamela Pitts. For decades, they held on to the case files, waiting for the right moment and the right evidence. Their dedication was a testament to the value of every single human life. They knew that justice, no matter how delayed, is a noble pursuit. In the spring of 2011, a cold case team reopened Pamela's file. A brilliant and dedicated detective reviewed the history, refusing to let the memory of the cheerful 19-year-old fade away. He listened patiently to dozens of recorded conversations, searching for the truth. Finally, in 2017, his unwavering dedication yielded results. A subtle but crucial statement made during a conversation provided the authorities with what they needed. On June 2, 2017, the detectives approached Shelley with calm professionalism. They informed her that she was being held accountable for the events of 1988. The detective who made the arrest later shared that the greatest moment of his entire career was being able to sit down with Pamela's father, Paul, and tell him that an arrest had been made. After almost 30 years of waiting, the father and the detective shared a deeply emotional and triumphant hug. It was a beautiful moment of shared humanity, proving that love and dedication can outlast any hardship. The legal process that followed required immense grace from Pamela's family. Recognizing the passage of time and the challenges of a 3-decade-old case, they supported a resolution that brought certainty. On March 1, 2021, Shelley stood before the court and officially accepted responsibility for the loss of Pamela Pitts. While the families of Pamela and Ray had to navigate unimaginable sorrow, they ultimately chose to focus on the light their loved ones brought into the world. Ray is remembered as a responsible, ambitious young man whose love for his family and dreams of the sky will never be forgotten. Pam is remembered as a vibrant, loving young lady who adored life and could not wait to live it fully. Her father knows in his heart that she would have continued to be a wonderful, inspiring presence in the world. In the end, this is not just a story of a mystery solved. It is a profound testament to the enduring power of family love, the unwavering dedication of public servants, and the undeniable truth that even after many years, justice and light will always find their way through the forest. Nestled among the towering pines of the Prescott National Forest, the town of Prescott, Arizona, was a haven of endless natural beauty. It was a place where residents spent their weekends exploring scenic trails, riding dirt bikes beneath the vast blue sky, and enjoying the simple, quiet rhythms of a close community. The air always smelled of pine needles and fresh earth, and the people greeted each other with warm, familiar smiles at the local diner. It was a town that felt safe, a town where families planted roots and watched their children grow up in the comforting embrace of nature. In the summer of 1988, 19-year-old Pamela Pitts was the brightest light in Prescott. Everyone who knew Pamela described her in the same way. She was a wonderful young woman, possessing an energetic spirit and a smile that could easily light up the darkest room. Pamela was the oldest of 4 children, and she wore the title of Big Sister with immense pride. She was a natural mentor, guiding her younger siblings with gentle advice, endless patience, and a wonderful sense of humor. Her father, Paul, cherished her deeply. To him, she was not just a daughter, but a sidekick, a trusted confidant who always brought joy into their home. Pamela was exceptionally artistic and often dreamed of attending beauty college, or perhaps venturing into the world of fashion design. She wanted to create beautiful things, eager to take her first steps into independence. She found a job at a cozy local restaurant and decided to move into an apartment with a new friend, Shelley Norgard. Shelley was 18 years old and carried a quiet, somewhat awkward demeanor. Unlike Pamela, who had a robust and loving family, Shelley seemed to drift through life without a strong support system. Her parents were rarely mentioned, though town gossip hinted at a difficult divorce and a strict father. For Shelley, moving in with a radiant and popular Pamela felt like a chance to finally belong somewhere. Pamela, with her boundless empathy, welcomed Shelley with open arms, hoping to share a bit of the warmth she had grown up with. As August arrived, Pamela also reconnected with a former sweetheart named Bobby Kitchener. Their romance rekindled slowly. built on a foundation of long conversations and shared laughter under the summer stars. Bobby was thrilled. Pamela was the kind of person whose enthusiasm for life was contagious, and being around her made the world feel infinitely brighter. The days were filled with hard work at the restaurant, cheerful evenings at the town square, and the optimistic planning of a beautiful future. Yet, beneath the surface of this idyllic summer, small tensions were beginning to ripple in the apartment Pamela shared with Shelley. Differences in habits and the everyday stress of paying rent began to wear on their friendship. Pamela, ever the responsible one, decided it might be best to move back home to the comforting sanctuary of her family. She told her father about her plan, and Paul warmly assured her that her room was always waiting. Pamela planned to tell Shelley soon. She intended to handle the situation with her usual grace and kindness, but the opportunity to have that gentle conversation would never arrive. Chapter 2, A Sudden Silence. On the evening of September 16, 1988, the vibrant energy that Pamela brought to the town simply vanished. She was last seen socializing with friends near the courthouse parking lot, a popular gathering spot where young people watched cars cruise by and shared innocent jokes. Bobby had been with her earlier that evening, but he eventually had to leave for work. Pamela had cheerfully mentioned she was heading home for a quiet night. That was the last time anyone saw her bright smile. The next morning, Shelley called Paul. Her voice carried a nervous edge as she asked if he knew where Pamela was. She claimed Pamela had never come home the previous night. Paul felt a mild tremor of concern, but he knew his daughter was a responsible and communicative young woman. He hoped she had simply stayed with another friend and forgotten to call. However, when Monday arrived and Pamela failed to appear for a shift at the restaurant, the mild concern blossomed into a deep, unsettling fear. Pamela was entirely dedicated to her work and her family. Disappearing without a word was entirely contrary to her nature. Paul immediately contacted the local authorities to report his precious daughter missing. The days stretched into weeks. The local police began their inquiries, but the town of Prescott yielded no immediate answers. The silence was deafening. During this time, a quiet detective with a penchant for black coffee and a dry, gentle sense of humor began reviewing the details. He noticed something unusual right away. Pamela had allegedly left without a trace, yet her car remained parked at the apartment. Even more peculiar, her purse and all her personal belongings were still sitting untouched in her room. Shelley had failed to mention these crucial details to Paul, an oversight that raised the first quiet alarms in the minds of the investigators. The heartbreak of uncertainty hung over the Pitts household. Paul balanced his deep emotional distress with a fierce determination to find his daughter. He trusted the investigative process, holding on to hope while the town rallied around the family, offering comforting words and warm meals. Then, on the evening of September 29, 1988, the narrative took a tragic turn. A local citizen was finishing a day of target practice in the Prescott National Forest at a popular spot known to the residents as Gordo Pit. As the man packed his belongings, he noticed an irregularity near one of the many recreational fire pits scattered across the landscape. He immediately drove to a nearby pharmacy and dialed 911. The authorities responded swiftly to the location. Upon arrival, the officers made a sorrowful discovery. It became evident that a young life had been taken. The scene was treated with the utmost reverence and respect. Recognizing the sensitivity of the situation, the authorities focused their efforts on gathering information meticulously, shielding the family and the public from the harsh realities of the site. Through careful dental record comparisons, the medical examiner confirmed the heartbreaking truth. The radiant light of Pamela Pitts had been extinguished. Chapter 3, Gathering the Pieces. The confirmation of Pamela passing devastated her family. The news was profound shock and unimaginable sorrow that words could scarcely capture. Yet, amid the tears and the tight family embraces, a resolute strength emerged. Paul wanted justice. He wanted to understand why anyone would wish harm upon someone who only brought joy to the world. The The local police and the county authorities combined their resources, forming a unified front to solve the mystery. The detectives started their journey by speaking to those closest to Pamela. They interviewed Bobby Kitchener, carefully retracing his steps on the evening of September 16. Bobby provided a clear and easily verified account of his night at work. He was cleared of any suspicion, leaving him to mourn the loss of the girl he had cared for so deeply. Next, the detectives turned their attention to Shelley Norgard. When they brought her in for a conversation on October 5, Shelley offered a surprisingly smooth narrative. She claimed that the evening Pamela vanished, she had finished work, picked up her own boyfriend, Ray Clerks, and driven around town visiting various friends until the early hours of the morning. The detectives, equipped with a healthy dose of skepticism and a dedication to the truth, decided to verify this timeline. They invited Ray Clerks for a gentle but thorough interview. Ray was an ambitious and responsible young man, 24 years old, who dreamed of becoming a commercial airline pilot. When asked about that specific night, Ray politely explained that he could not confirm Shelley's whereabouts after 11:30 in the evening, as she had gone home. When a detective pointed out that Shelley claimed she had gone home much later, Ray merely shrugged, stating his memory of the exact timing was unclear. Tired of the stressful questioning, Ray respectfully asked to conclude the interview. Without a solid alibi from Ray, the investigators dug deeper into Shelley's social circle. Conversations with her friends revealed a troubling dynamic. They reported that Shelley had been visibly angry on the night of the 16th. She had been actively searching for Pamela, expressing deeply resentful sentiments. She had blamed Pamela for the difficulties in her own life, a tragic display of misdirected anger and jealousy. Furthermore, friends recalled unsettling comments Shelley had made in the past. She had occasionally boasted about knowing how to make someone disappear, suggesting methods that involved remote locations or mine shafts. While the detectives found these comments deeply disturbing, they knew that strange words spoken at parties did not equate to legal evidence. The investigators executed a careful search of the apartment Shelley and Pamela shared, hoping to find a clue that might bring peace to the grieving family. However, the residence was completely clean. There was no physical evidence, no signs of a struggle, and nothing that could definitively link Shelley to the tragedy. In 1988, the advanced scientific tools of modern forensics were simply not available. The detectives were relying on their wits, their deduction, and their unyielding patience. Chapter 4, Rumors and Resilience. As the months turned into a year, the charming town of Prescott struggled to make sense of the loss. In the absence of concrete facts, the town rumor mill began to churn. Whispers echoed through the diner and the local high school corridors. Some imaginative souls suggested that a mysterious cult was operating in the forest. Others spoke of secret rituals. The detectives patiently investigated every single rumor, no matter how wild or cinematic it sounded. They chased down the stories with good humor and professionalism, eventually proving that none of the sensational tales held any truth. During the summer of 1989, the authorities discovered a new lead. Several youths mentioned a past disagreement at a park between Pamela and an 18-year-old girl named Melinda Perry. The story suggested a physical altercation had taken place. Hoping this might explain the tragedy, the detectives invited Melinda in for a discussion. Melinda steadfastly denied the allegations. She explained that she had been at a motel party on the night in question, far away from any trouble. Eager for a resolution, the authorities asked Melinda to speak before a grand jury. When inconsistencies appeared in her timeline, she briefly faced charges of not telling the complete truth. However, the detectives soon realized that Melinda's whereabouts were entirely documented and verified. The young woman was simply frightened and confused by the overwhelming legal process. The charges were dropped, and Melinda, seeking a fresh start, moved away to Nevada, leaving the authorities back at the very beginning. The investigation gently cooled. 3 years passed. A cold case is a heartbreaking reality for any police department. It occurs not from a lack of caring, but from a total exhaustion of available information. The detectives never forgot Pamela. Her photograph remained in their files, a quiet reminder of the justice they still sought. Paul and his family demonstrated extraordinary grace during this long waiting period. They chose not to let anger consume their lives. Instead, they focused on remembering Pamela's beautiful spirit. They shared stories of her artistic talents, her infectious laughter, and her deep love for her siblings. Paul often said that while he wanted justice, he was willing to wait as long as it took. He believed in the fundamental goodness of the world and trusted that the truth would eventually surface. Chapter 5. The Echo in the Mine. On May 25, 1991, the Prescott community was shaken by another unexpected discovery. A group of college students, exploring the rugged beauty of the landscape, descended into an abandoned vertical mine shaft. There, they found a tragic scene. The authorities were called, and the local sheriff's office began a new, somber investigation. Through careful examination, the medical examiner identified the young man. It was Ray Clerks. Ray's family had recently reported him missing. The responsible, aspiring pilot had failed to arrive for a joyous family wedding in California. His absence was wildly out of character. Upon learning of his passing, Ray's family immediately expressed their concerns to detectives. They explained that Ray had been planning a bright future. He was preparing to move back to California to pursue his aviation dreams. And he had made the difficult decision to end his relationship with Shelley Norgard. He was moving on, and he was not taking her with him. For the detectives, the pattern was impossible to ignore. Two people, Pamela Pitts and Ray Clerks, had both decided to separate themselves from Shelley. Both had sought to move forward toward positive, independent futures. And both had met a tragic, untimely end. Armed with this undeniable connection, the investigators secured a warrant to search the home Shelley and Ray had shared. The detectives approached Shelley's vehicle with a heavy heart. A thorough inspection of the car trunk revealed the truth they had suspected. There were unmistakable traces that linked the vehicle to Ray passing. The physical evidence was finally present, clear and undeniable. On June 4, 1991, Shelley Norgard was placed under arrest. The young woman, who had allowed jealousy and a fear of abandonment to dictate her actions, was finally facing the consequences. The legal process moved forward. During the court proceedings, Shelley ultimately accepted a plea agreement. She stood before the judge and offered confession regarding Ray. She explained that on a quiet night, while they were stargazing, Ray had gently explained his plans to leave and take his pets with him. Unable to handle rejection, she acted out in a moment of irreversible harm. Overwhelmed by panic, she had hidden him away. For her actions against Ray, Shelley was sentenced to 20 years in the state prison. She would have a long time to reflect on the sorrow she had caused. When the news reached Pamela's family, they experienced a complex wave of emotions. There was a profound relief knowing that Shelley was removed from society and could not cause pain to anyone else. Yet, there was also a lingering ache. They knew in their hearts that Shelley was responsible for Pamela passing as well. But the detectives explained that the legal system required concrete proof. A conviction for one crime did not automatically prove another. The wait for Pamela justice would have to continue. Chapter 6. The Power of Patience. 18 years drifted by. The town of Prescott continued to grow, the pine trees reaching higher into the sky, the diner serving countless cups of coffee to new generations. The original detectives retired, passing their notebooks and their hopes down to younger officers. Through all those years, Paul Pitts maintained his quiet dignity. He understood that revenge was an empty pursuit. True healing came from celebrating the love his family shared. Pamela's siblings grew up, carrying their older sister memory in their hearts, letting her vibrant spirit inspire their own life choices. They became kind, resilient adults. In March of 2011, 23 years after Pamela disappeared, a dedicated cold case team decided it was time to dust off the files. A new investigator, Detective Dart, was handed the immense binder. He was a meticulous man, the sort of detective who found peace in organizing chaotic information and possessed a deep, enduring belief in justice. When Dart first read the file, his superiors intentionally withheld the information about Ray Clerks, wanting Dart to form his own unbiased opinions about Pamela's disappearance. But as Dart dug into the town history, the connection became glaringly obvious when he realized that the primary suspect in Pamela's case was currently sitting in prison for a shockingly similar crime. A fire was lit within him. Shelley, now using the name Shelley Norgar Harmon through a later marriage she would have, was nearing the end of her 20-year sentence. In February of 2011, Detective Dart visited her at the prison. He brought his usual polite demeanor, offering no threats or aggressive interrogation. He simply sat across from her and gently reminded her that the Prescott Police Department had not forgotten Pamela Pitts. He told her that they were still looking, still listening, and still caring. It was a masterclass in psychological patience. The detectives knew that if they reminded Shelley of the past, she might reach out to her family to discuss it. They legally monitored her telephone communications from the prison, hoping she would share a hidden truth. For 97 phone calls, they listened. They heard mundane conversations about the weather, complaints about the food, and discussions about her upcoming release. There was no confession. In May of 2011, having completed her sentence for Ray, Shelley walked out of the prison doors. She found employment, married, and attempted to blend into a new life. The investigators were disappointed but not defeated. Heavy caseloads and departmental shifts caused a temporary pause, but the memory of Pamela Bright's smile kept the file on the corner of Detective Dart's desk. Chapter 7, The Whisper Truth. Spring blossomed in 2017. 6 years had passed since Shelley's release. Detective Dart, sipping a warm cup of coffee and reviewing his notes, experienced a sudden moment of clarity. He thought back to those 97 phone calls. He wondered if, in the massive volume of audio, they had missed a subtle nuance, a quiet admission hidden beneath the mundane chatter. Determined, Dart decided to listen to every single recording himself, from beginning to end. It was a tedious task, requiring immense focus and an unwavering commitment to the educational and humanistic value of finding the truth. Hour after hour, he listened, and then he found it. It was a call between Shelley and her father, recorded shortly after Dart had visited her in prison. Her father's voice carried a heavy, worried tone. He asked her about the detectives, expressing concern about the Pamela Pitts investigation. He gently pressed his daughter, noting that for over 20 years, she had never actually told him what happened that night. Shelley's response was brief, but in the context of the conversation, it was a missing puzzle piece. Her subtle acknowledgement of the events, combined with the mountain of circumstantial evidence the detectives had carefully preserved for 3 decades, was finally enough. When Dart heard the audio tape, the hair on his arm stood up. A quiet smile of profound relief crossed his face. The long wait was nearing its end. On June 2, 2017, Detective Dart and his team traveled to Shelley's location. Dart walked into the room, calm and professional. He introduced himself. When Shelley looked at him, Dart saw a look of defiant resignation in her eyes. The past had finally caught up to her. He calmly informed her that he wanted to discuss the year 1988. When she asked if she was under arrest and requested legal counsel, Dart respectfully affirmed her rights and officially placed her under arrest for the passing of Pamela Pitts. The phone call Dart made to Paul Pitts was a highlight of his long career. Sitting in the family living room, Dart shared the news. After nearly 30 years, an arrest had been made. Paul stood up, his eyes shining with unwept tears of gratitude, and pulled the detective into a deep, heartfelt embrace. The words, "Thank God," echoed through the room, a testament to a family enduring faith. Chapter 8, Healing and Light. The road to the courtroom was not without its hurdles. Preparing a trial for a 30-year-old case presented significant challenges. Memories had faded, some witnesses had passed away, and others simply could not recall the details of their youth. The prosecutors recognized the fragility of their position. They wanted to guarantee a conviction, ensuring that Paul and his family would not have to endure the agony of a trial that might result in a dismissal. To secure justice, they negotiated a plea agreement. The defense stipulated that Shelley would only plead guilty if she did not have to serve additional prison time, factoring in the 20 years she had already served and the years she had spent in county jail. Awaiting this trial, knowing that a guaranteed admission of guilt was the most vital step for the family healing, the prosecutors agreed. On March 1, 2021, at the age of 50, Shelley stood before a judge. She finally offered her confession regarding Pamela. She admitted that on that September night, she had sought Pamela out, driven by jealousy and anger. She had initiated a physical confrontation that she allowed to spiral tragically out of control. When Pamela stopped breathing, Shelley fled the scene. She offered no further details, withholding the full extent of her actions. But the words spoken in the open courtroom were enough. The record permanently reflected her guilt. Because of her prior time served, Shelley was permitted to walk out of the courtroom. For Pamela family, the conclusion was a mixture of profound relief and quiet acceptance. Paul acknowledged that the justice system is not always perfect, and the outcome did not look exactly as they might have dreamed. Yet, he focused on the victory. The truth was known to the world. The dark shadow that had hung over the town was finally lifted. The story of Prescott, Arizona, and the tragedy of 1988 ultimately became a narrative not of darkness, but of enduring light. The community learned the vital importance of resolving conflicts with communication and love, rather than allowing jealousy to foster resentment. The detectives demonstrated that true public service requires endless patience, meticulous care, and a heart dedicated to the community. Ray Clerks is remembered by his family as a bright, ambitious young man whose dreams of flying planes remind him always to look upward and strive for greatness. And Pamela Pitts remains a golden girl of Prescott. Her family ensures she is remembered not for how she departed this world, but for how she lived in it. She is remembered for her kindness to her siblings, her artistic dreams, and a smile that brought warmth to everyone she met. Paul knows that if she were here today, she would be a wonderful, inspiring force of nature. Through the love of her family and the dedication of those who never stopped seeking the truth, Pamela's beautiful spirit continues to shine brilliantly, inspiring all who hear her story to live with joy, cherish their loved ones, and always hold on to hope. The town of Prescott, Arizona, was a quiet, picturesque community nestled within the embrace of the Prescott National Forest. It was the sort of place where residents enjoyed endless recreational activities, spending their days riding dirt bikes or practicing target shooting under the golden afternoon sun. The air always smelled of pine and possibility. In the summer of 1988, the heart of the small town beat to the cheerful rhythm of Pamela Pitts. 19 years old, Pamela was a beacon of light. She was known far and wide for a bright smile and an infectious zest for life. Pamela was a wonderful young woman who was always doing something productive, always wanted to share joy with those around her. She possessed a rare gift of making friends with absolutely anyone she met. She was outgoing, deeply excited about life, and possessed a deeply artistic soul. The oldest of 4 children, Pamela loved nothing more than her family. To her father, Paul, she was a trusty sidekick. To her younger siblings, she was an awesome mentor who took them under her wing, guiding them through the early stages of life. They could always count on her. She was a safe harbor where they could confide their deepest dreams. As she navigated her 19th year, Pamela felt ready to explore the world on her own terms. She had grand dreams of attending beauty college, or perhaps diving into fashion design. To take her first steps toward independence, she moved in with a new friend, Shelley Norgard. They had met through mutual acquaintances and quickly started doing many things together. Shelley was an 18-year-old young woman who had always seemed a bit awkward to those who knew. Her background was something of mystery, shrouded in unspoken family difficulties. It seemed her parents were rarely in the picture, save for a stern father with whom she had a complicated relationship. For Shelley, moving in with Pamela was a chance to finally experience a warm family connection. Pamela, full of empathy and kindness, welcomed Shelley into her life. To make ends meet, Pamela secured a job at a local restaurant. Life was a canvas waiting to be painted. In August of 1988, just a month after the big move, Pamela even reconnected with an old flame, Bobby Kitchener. Their renewed friendship was taken slowly, but Bobby was invigorated by her presence. Her life revolved around her beloved family, her wide circle of friends, and creating beautiful memories. Chapter 2: The Disappearance. However, the warm summer winds soon brought a chill. The friendship between Pamela and Shelley began to experience the typical growing pains of young adulthood, mostly centered around the mundane issue of paying rent. Pamela, ever the responsible one, decided it might be best to move back home to the comforting embrace of her family. She spoke to her father, who welcomed the idea with open arms. Having heard gentle warnings from the townspeople that Shelley occasionally struggled with honesty, on the evening of September 16, 1988, the town of Prescott felt ordinary, yet it would soon become the starting point of a profound mystery. Pamela had spent the early part of the evening downtown with Bobby. They sat in his car near the courthouse parking lot, a popular spot where friends gathered to talk and watch the world go by. Around 9:30 in the evening, Bobby departed for work, leaving Pamela in good spirits, mentioning she planned to spend a quiet evening at home. That was the last confirmed sighting of the bright young woman. When the sun rose the next morning, Pamela was nowhere to be found. Shelley contacted Paul, asking if he knew of his daughter's whereabouts, claiming Pamela had not come home. At first, Paul maintained a calm demeanor, hoping for a simple explanation. But when Monday arrived and Pamela failed to show up for her restaurant job, a deep, maternal instinct within the community sounded an alarm. Pamela was simply not the type of person to abandon her responsibilities or her loved ones. Paul contacted the Prescott Police Department, initiating a missing persons investigation. The initial days were filled with hope and frantic searches. But a curious detail soon emerged that puzzled the gentle town. Pamela's car, her purse, and all her personal belongings were still sitting untouched at the house she shared with Shelley. It was a detail Shelley had initially forgotten to mention, raising the first quiet flags of suspicion in an otherwise trusting community. Chapter 3: The Mystery at Gordo's Pit. 13 days later, on the evening of September 29, 1988, a local resident was finishing up a peaceful evening of target practice in the Prescott National Forest. As he walked back to his truck near a popular local gathering spot affectionately known as Gordo's Pit, he noticed something unusual near one of the recreational fire pits. Seeking help, he immediately traveled to a nearby drugstore to contact emergency services by dialing 911. Within minutes, the Yavapai County Sheriff's Office responded to the area, just outside the Prescott city limits. The authorities discovered that a tragedy had occurred. Due to the passage of time and the elements, the scene was complex. The scientific testing available in 1988 lacked the advanced DNA tools of the modern era, making it difficult to discern which items belonged to the natural environment and which were related to the investigation. The medical examiner respectfully reviewed the situation, but the exact circumstances remained a heartbreaking mystery. Through careful comparison of dental records, the town's worst fears were gently but firmly confirmed. The bright light of Pamela Pitts had been extinguished, The Yavapai County Sheriff's Office and the Prescott Police Department joined forces, creating a united front to seek justice. When the detectives visited Paul to deliver the news, the father's heart shattered. It was a mind-boggling and deeply emotional moment, yet amidst a profound sorrow, Paul found an incredible well of strength. His love for his daughter transformed into an unwavering determination to find out the truth, setting a powerful example of resilience for his community. Chapter 4: Whispers and Alibis. The investigation began by looking closely at Pamela's inner circle. The detectives, maintaining a professional yet compassionate approach, interviewed those closest to her. Bobby Kitchener was spoken to and quickly provided a solid account of his whereabouts, confirming he had gone to work after their pleasant evening together. The detectives then sat down with Shelley on October 5th. Shelley shared a story of driving around town, visiting a fast food restaurant, and watching a movie with friends at a local student apartment. To verify this, investigators spoke with Shelley's boyfriend at the time, a young man named Ray Clerks. Ray, however, struggled to recall the exact timeline of that specific night, noting that it had been several weeks prior. As detectives dug deeper, they encountered the vibrant rumor mill of a small town. Some teenagers whispered about a large gathering at Gordo's Pit, spinning wildly imaginative tales of secret societies and mystical rituals. The dedicated investigators patiently chased down every rumor, proving that truth is often much simpler and less sensational than fiction. They carefully separated the innocent tall tales from actionable facts. During these interviews, a different picture of the roommate dynamic began to emerge. Friends recalled Shelley expressing deep frustration on the night of September 16th. The harmonious living situation had seemingly fractured, with Shelley unfairly blaming Pamela for the difficulties in her own life. Witnesses remembered Shelley making unusual, dramatic statements about how to make people disappear, sentiments that deeply concerned the investigators. Despite these alarming statements, the authorities lacked physical evidence. They secured a warrant to thoroughly search the apartment, but found nothing amiss. The justice system requires absolute proof, and without it, the case gracefully transitioned into a waiting game. Years passed. A young woman named Melinda Perry was briefly brought into the spotlight due to an old rumor about a disagreement at a park, but she steadfastly maintained her innocence and was eventually cleared, allowing her to move forward with her life in Nevada. The case of Pamela Pitts grew cold, but it never left the hearts of the detectives or her loving father. Paul was willing to wait as long as it took, trusting that the universe bends toward justice. Chapter 5: The Second Disappearance. Time moved forward, bringing the year 1991. Shelley had moved on to a new chapter, sharing a home with her boyfriend, Ray Clerks. Ray was a responsible 24-year-old with a bright future. He dreamed of soaring through the skies as a commercial airline pilot, a passion that ran deep within his tight-knit family. But in late May of 1991, Ray unexpectedly failed to arrive at a family wedding in California. Knowing his responsible nature, his family immediately sensed something was amiss and filed a missing persons report on May 28th. Just days prior, on May 25th, a group of college students exploring a cave system in the region made a startling discovery near a vertical shaft. The authorities were called, and a careful recovery operation took place. It was determined that a young man had met an unfortunate end. Using dental records, the medical examiner gently identified the young man as Ray Clerks. When investigators notified Ray's loving family, a familiar narrative emerged. Ray had been planning to move back to California to pursue his aviation dreams, and he had intended to end his relationship with Shelley. The detectives recognized a deeply troubling pattern. Two individuals who had shared a home with Shelley, both attempting to gain independence, had met tragic ends. Guided by this realization, the authorities secured a search warrant for the home Shelley and Ray shared. This time, careful police work yielded crucial physical clues. A fingerprint belonging to Shelley was recovered from a flashlight left at the site. Furthermore, an inspection of Shelley's vehicle revealed undeniable evidence connecting her to the tragic loss of Ray. On June 4th, 1991, Shelley was placed under arrest. The justice system moved deliberately, and by 1993, halfway through the trial process, Shelley accepted a plea agreement. She admitted her involvement, explaining that a heated emotional argument over Ray taking their shared dogs had led to a tragic, panicked outcome. She was sentenced to 20 years in the state facility. For the family of Pamela Pitts, this news brought a complicated mix of emotions. While it provided relief that Shelley could no longer cause harm, it also intensified the desire for answers regarding Pamela. Yet, the law remained steadfast. Without new evidence, the first case remained unsolved. Chapter 6. Patience and Persistence. 18 long years passed. The world changed, technology advanced, but the love Paul held for Pamela remained exactly the same. The initial feelings of anger had gracefully transformed into a pure, noble quest for truth. It was no longer about resentment. It was entirely about honoring the memory of a wonderful daughter. In March of 2011, 23 years after Pamela's bright smile was taken from the world, a specialized cold case team reopened the investigation. A brilliant and dedicated investigator named Detective Dart took the helm. Initially unaware of the parallel case involving Ray Clerks, Detective Dart reviewed the files with fresh eyes. When he finally learned of the 1991 events, the pieces of the puzzle began to snap into a clear, logical picture. Shelley was the only individual with a documented motive and a proven capacity for such actions. In February of 2011, anticipating Shelley's upcoming release after serving her 20-year sentence, investigators visited her. They did not push or interrogate. They simply had a polite conversation to remind her that the memory of Pamela Pitts had not faded. Following this visit, the authorities carefully monitored her communications, hoping for a breakthrough. Over the course of 97 recorded conversations, Shelley revealed nothing. In May of 2011, she was released. She entered the workforce, met a man, married, and changed her name to Shelley Norgar Harmon, attempting to start a completely new life. Chapter 7. The Power of Listening. The detectives refused to give up, though department transitions and heavy caseloads caused temporary delays. Finally, in the spring of 2017, 6 years after Shelley had re-entered society, Detective Dart had a moment of pure inspiration. He decided to personally listen to every single one of those 97 recorded conversations. From 2011 one more time, patience is a virtue that rewards the diligent. During one specific conversation between Shelley and her father, the topic turned to the detectives visiting her about Pamela. Her father, expressing deep concern, noted that for 20 years he had never truly known what happened that night. The conversation hovered delicately in the air, followed by a profound, telling silence. For Detective Dart, that moment of silence spoke volumes. It was the crucial piece of circumstantial evidence needed to finally take action. On June 2nd, 2017, investigators approached Shelley. Detective Dart identified himself and respectfully stated he wished to discuss the events of 1988. Shelley, recognizing the inevitable arrival of truth, met the moment with quiet resignation. She was officially placed under arrest for the events surrounding Pamela Pitts. The moment Detective Dart was able to sit down with Paul and deliver the news was the absolute highlight of his entire career. After nearly 30 years of waiting, Paul stood up, embraced the detective, and expressed a profound, heartfelt gratitude. It was a beautiful testament to the enduring power of hope. Chapter 8. Truth and Healing. Bringing a 3-decade-old case to trial presented immense challenges. Witnesses had moved on, memories had faded, and the passage of time had altered the landscape of the evidence. The prosecutors faced a difficult uphill climb. acknowledging that achieving a conviction in a trial setting was a monumental task. To ensure that the truth was formally recognized, the legal team proposed a thoughtful compromise. On March 1st, 2021, Shelley stood before the court. She provided a statement detailing the events of September 16th, 1988. She explained that she had gone looking for Pamela, resulting in a heated emotional disagreement that escalated beyond control. She admitted her fault, offering a confession that finally put the speculation to rest. Because she had served 20 years previously and spent an additional 4 years awaiting this trial, the court determined her sentence was complete. At the age of 50, she walked out of the courtroom. For Paul and the community, the outcome was a profound lesson in the realities of justice. It was a small, quiet victory, but a deeply significant one. The truth was now a matter of public record. The world finally knew the facts. Through the dedication of law enforcement and the unwavering love of family, the shadows were finally lifted from the town of Prescott. The story of Pamela and Ray became a powerful educational testament to the fact that secrets cannot stay buried forever. Today, the memories of Ray Clerks and Pamela Pitts live on in the warm, sunny days of Arizona. Ray is remembered for his vast potential and the tight-knit family that loved him so dearly. Pamela is remembered not for the way she departed, but for the way she lived, a vibrant, artistic young lady who loved life and greeted everyone with a beautiful, unforgettable smile. Their spirits continue to inspire healthy, positive reflections on the importance of family, truth, and enduring power of love. The Prescott National Forest provided the residents of Prescott, Arizona, with endless recreational activities under the vast, clear blue skies. People rode their bicycles along the winding dirt trails and spent their daytime hours exploring the majestic beauty of the woods. The community was closely knit, a place where neighbors knew each other by name and looked out for one another with genuine care. It was a town that nurtured dreams, and no one embodied that vibrant, hopeful spirit quite like 19-year-old Pamela Pitts. Pamela was known throughout the town for her bright smile and her absolute zest for life. She was a wonderful young woman, always doing something creative, always wanted to share a laugh. She was the type of person who could make friends with absolutely anybody who crossed her path. Her energy was boundless, her heart incredibly open, and she was genuinely excited about every single day she got to experience. As the oldest of 4 children, Pamela loved nothing more than her family. Her father, Paul, often spoke of her with a deep, unwavering pride. To him, she was not just a daughter. She was his sidekick. She was exceptionally wonderful with all the younger children in the family, acting as a patient and loving mentor. Her younger sister often told everyone that Pamela was a pretty amazing big sister who took her under her wing. Pamela would gently guide her siblings through the complexities of growing up. She was always there, a steady and comforting presence whom they could always count on and confide in when times were tough. By the time she turned 19, Pamela felt ready to gently leave the family nest and experience a bit of independence. She moved in with a new friend she had met, a young woman named Shelley Norgard. They had connected through mutual friends, and soon they were sharing an apartment, eager to navigate the adult world together. Pamela secured a job at a local restaurant to make ends meet and pay her share of the rent, though she had many different interests. She was still exploring what she wanted to do for her career. She often talked with excitement about attending beauty college, viewing it as a stepping stone for her artistic talents. Her father figured she would thrive in a creative field like fashion design because she possessed such a unique, artistic soul. Shelley, on the other hand, was always considered a bit more awkward. Her background was somewhat of a mystery to those who knew the girls. It seemed like Shelley did not have the same warm, ever-present family structure that Pamela enjoyed. For 18-year-old Shelley, living with Pamela was finally a chance to experience a true family connection. Shelley had faced some emotional struggles, stemming from a difficult family dynamic. Her parents were no longer together, and the pressure between Shelley and her strict father was a heavy burden on her shoulders. Shelley made it very clear that she cherished her living situation with Pamela and had no desire to return to her previous life. Life in the summer of 1988 was full of promise. In August, just a month after moving into the new apartment, Pamela reconnected with an old friend named Bobby Kitchener. They took their renewed friendship slowly, but Pamela was reinvigorated about spending time with him. Bobby was thrilled, as he still harbored a lot of fond feelings for her. Pamela's world revolved beautifully around her family, her friends, and making the most out of her youth. Chapter 2, The Disappearance and the Search. However, the warm summer eventually gave way to a chilly autumn. On the 16th of September, 1988, the popular teenager seemingly vanished, setting off a wave of worry throughout the peaceful town. It started with a phone call. Shelley reached out to Paul, asking if he knew where Pamela might be. Paul was surprised and said he had no idea. Shelley